cabbage. It may not be the sexiest of vegetables, but it is definitely loved around the world. There are different variations of it, all with their own flavors that I think make it pretty special. So today we are looking at 5 cabbage dishes from 5 countries that I hope will change some of your minds and make cabbage a little bit cooler in your eyes.
My cabbages!
Hi everyone, my name is Emilia.
And my name is Anne.
We live in Spokane, Washington, in the United States of America.
And what is the dish we're making today?
Stir-fried cabbage.
Stir-fried cabbage. In our family, we just call it cabbage. Cabbage is a dish that can be as simple as just stir-frying cabbage with some seasonings and eating it over rice. But we include bacon and pork loin, soy sauce, a little bit of sugar, and black pepper. What else do you like to include?
Red pepper and some salt.
And some salt?
Yes.
Okay. This meal was always a labor of love in my family because it took time to cook down the cabbage and to reduce the water lost from the cabbage into a really delicious sauce. It reminds me of my stepdad because he would grow up making it, I think, with his mom who immigrated from China, and he would make it on my birthdays because I would request it because I liked it so much.
The smell of bacon, especially in the morning, is something that will get me out of bed in like 1 minute. How do you all feel about bacon? Are we pro, con? How do we feel about turkey bacon? I feel like that's kind of controversial. I like them both.
What kind of cabbage do we use for this dish?
Green cabbage.
Green cabbage. It's a hearty, nutritious vegetable that can be found all over the world, and it's generally pretty inexpensive. Raw cabbage itself has a generally fresh and slightly sweet flavor. It's also really crunchy. And stir-fried cabbage is much more smoky. Is it crunchy still?
No.
Not really, huh? We really like to eat it over white rice and serve it with the sauce over it.
This smells really good. The soy sauce is smelling nice. I want the cabbage to cook down a little more. Also, oopsies, there's a button here. Nobody wants the butt.
Why do you think people should try it, kiddo?
Because we have a good feeling of adding some new flavors into it.
Yeah, people should try it because it's good to try new flavors.
Yeah.
We really like it in our house, so we would recommend it to you too.
So we hope you enjoy. Bye!
Chinese stir-fried cabbage with bacon? Yes. Double yes. The soy sauce and the mirin in this is so good. The pork is good too. The cabbage has taken on the flavors of everything we put in there, the aromatics, the liquids of the soy sauce and the mirin and the sugar. It's got all the flavors, it's carrying them so well. It's so crunchy still. I love crunchy cabbage. And the bacon is crunchy as well, and it's giving this saltiness that you really want out of cabbage dishes. I could eat a whole bowl of this and be okay with how gassy I would get at the end of it. I was surprised at how much the cabbage cooked down. I think cabbage is one of those vegetables that's so thick that I don't have an expectation that it's gonna become a lot smaller. The cabbage has wilted a lot. I was actually thinking there was too much. I feel like this is too much cabbage. Is it gonna cook down a lot? But now I think it's just right. And obviously it cooked down a lot. So I think if you're gonna make this, don't be afraid of how much cabbage you're putting into it because it is going to cook down. Cooking everything in the bacon grease, that was a good move. I'm not mad about that. I'm just gonna have one more bite here. Yum. This tastes restaurant quality, and this is my first time making it. So if you wanna try, I think that anybody would have success first time round. And now for the sponsor of today's episode, Bombas, my favorite sock company in the entire world. Most people don't necessarily think too much about their socks, but if you owned a pair of Bombas, I swear to God you would. I'm gonna Vanna White these socks for you, but these are some of the most comfortable socks in the world. Number one, they don't have toe seams, which is something that I love, and they fit like a dream. Now, normally we don't do feet shots on the internet, but I'm gonna do a little bit of modeling to show you these socks. There are tons of different colors and styles to choose from ankle socks to calf socks and mid-calf socks. That's hard to say. Even Leia is wearing her Bombas to work today. And Bombas is a great company because they give back. For every item bought, they donate one item. In fact, in homeless shelters, t-shirts, socks, and underwear are the #1 requested item, so it's great that Bombas donates to these shelters to help people out in need. To date, over 100 million of these essential items have been donated across all 50 states. Up your sock game and try Bombas out today. Go to bombas.com/Beryl and use code Beryl20 at checkout for 20% off. You won't regret it, and your feet will thank you.
Hi, Beryl.
Hello, Beryl.
Hope you're well. I'm Andrea,
And I'm Peter.
and we are from New York City. I'm Romanian American, first generation, and my parents are from Romania.
I'm a naturalized American citizen and I'm from Romania.
And we are sharing today's dish, Sarmarle, also known as in English.
Sour cabbage rolls or pickled
Sour.
cabbage rolls.
This dish is really special to me. We have it typically around Christmas, Hanukkah time. I've seen my parents spend hours making it. It's a lot of fun. The texture, I would describe it as crunchy and delicious.
Ooh, you can smell that this is parsley and not cilantro. I can really smell that this is parsley, and I feel like now I have fully been converted that parsley and cilantro are definitely not the same thing. Although sometimes I do think they're interchangeable, they are not the same. I've learned my lesson. Y'all have changed my mind.
It has a lot of different flavors. You have the tangy meat.
It's half pork, half ground beef in our version, and some smoked bacon slices.
I'm already done with the cooking part. Now I just have to roll, which I kind of enjoy. No more heat in here.
I like it a lot. I've shared it with my husband, who enjoys it as well.
I know that Peter said to use half ground pork and half ground beef. However, I couldn't find ground pork, so we're just going with beef. And I think that that's gonna work because ground beef is great stuffed into cabbage leaves.
You see me smiling because Andrea said that it's a typical Romanian dish. Actually, it's a type of dish that every country in that region of the world claims as its own. The word is actually of Turkish origin. It has to do with using ground beef wrapped in some kind of a vegetable leaf. It could be cabbage.
I really like mixing meat with my hands sensorially. It just feels really good for me. Mix that meat with your hands. Incorporate it all.
And also there are vine leaves that you can use for that.
That is one of the greatest hacks that you all have taught me in the comments about how to open a hard to open jar. The spoon method is elite.
Basically, the one that we're discussing today is the cabbage variety. It differs from region to region in the composition of the meat that you use, in the amount of smoked meat that you use to flavor it, and in the size of the roll, which also matters.
This leaf is huge. This one's gonna get extra meat.
The cabbage that you use for this dish is green cabbage, regular green cabbage.
That's a big boy. It's a big one. Big girl maybe, unclear. This is my mountain of sarmale and I halved the recipe. So I'm gonna put half the recipe on the website. But this was really easy to do and I'm really excited to eat these. Also, I used the entire jar of the leaves. I have like truly just a few left over and that's meant to line the bottom of the pan. So one jar of leaves is a lot.
And it has to be pickled. Cabbage is such a popular vegetable because of its versatility. Sarmale is just a way to prove how tasty that versatility can be.
Typically, this dish is also served with mamaliga, which I know you made, and for your listeners, that is polenta, and with sour cream.
The sour cream is a Transylvanian addition to it. People should use this, should taste this because it's delicious. When I was a kid, my grandmother used to make it and once made enough for me to eat at my heart's content, and I eat 30 of them, but that I don't encourage you to do because you're gonna suffer the next day.
If anyone wants to try a delicious dish, new, something different, I highly recommend sarmale, and especially to those friends who may not be familiar with Eastern European cuisine, I think they would love it.
What is so typical and special about sarmale is the mixture of the sourness and crispiness of the cabbage mixed in with the meat, which has been fully saturated with the juice, and it's a delicious, delicious meal.
Some of these are really big. Like, look at this one. There's no way. But I pulled out a smaller one to taste, and even the small one is pretty big. I'm gonna give it a little cut here. I can see the steam coming out of these. These are gonna burn me. Let me just tell you quickly about the book I'm reading. I'm reading Dark Air. It's the second book in what's going to be a trilogy. It's an adult fantasy book. It's super fun. Let's see if it's cooled down. That was pretty quick. Okay, it's okay. Oh. Stuffed cabbage is one of my favorite foods in the entire world. Whatever you're stuffing with it, whatever sauce you're putting with it, I don't care. I love all of them. This one is so good. The rice inside the stuffing is delicious. The sour fermented cabbage on the top is giving this really great vinegary flavor to it and a bit of a crunch. And the bacon in the sauce is something that I've never done before. It's so good. It's giving a little bit of saltiness. This was worth the 4-hour cooking time. This took so long to cook. It was all passive. That's not true. A lot of it was passive though. Rolling them wasn't really hard. In fact, it was pretty fun. I thought it would be more difficult than it was. I'm like talking, but I'm also just so into this cabbage. I'm just still eating it. What was I saying? Oh yeah, it wasn't very difficult to make. It was just a little bit time consuming. The 4 hours passive cooking time was pretty crazy, but the rolling of it wasn't that difficult, so that was pretty nice. I think that even though the dish takes a long time to make, it's totally worth it. It also will keep for a week in your fridge, and you can freeze them. Because I made so many, I was like, what to do with tons of sarmale? I will be eating this if I don't freeze it for the next like month of my life. Or I just have people over and serve it to them, which actually makes more sense. I'm probably gonna do that. I think all in all, this dish is amazing, delicious, one of my favorite things that I've made on the channel in a really long time. Perhaps not surprising because I am stuffed cabbage biased, but it's incredible. And I mean, if you feel like you wanna spend the time, you're gonna get something awesome because this is awesome.
Hi Beryl, my name's Joanna and I grew up in Canada in a Polish household, and the recipe that I'm super excited to share with everyone is officially called wieprzowina z kapustą, which translates to pork with cabbage. But there is a lot of Polish recipes with pork and cabbage, and in my family we've always called this recipe Kapusta Maślana, which basically translates to buttery cabbage, which is more appropriate because butter is one of the main ingredients and it's a very creamy dish, and that's sort of what sets it apart from other pork and cabbage dishes. I find it kind of difficult to describe because I think it's a very unique recipe, which was why I was so excited to share it with everyone. It's basically a stew, but not super liquidy.
I have baby carrots instead of a big carrot, so I think I'm just gonna leave them whole because I'm gonna cook them for so long that I don't think I need to cut them. What's up, Doc?
What I love about this dish is that every single bite melts in your mouth, but it's not mushy. So that is sort of the best part of this recipe. It's just like so rich, so decadent, and just so surprising when you eat it. In Polish we say niebo w gębie, so heaven in your mouth. So I think this really applies for this dish. My mom originally got this recipe from a Polish magazine, and this was in Canada, but it was a Polish magazine. So I'm gonna say that it's a modern Polish dish. And really what this dish reminds me of, and like really exemplifies for me, is just cooking and eating with my family, and just the excitement of sharing new recipes, and just like the magic of food.
Forgot to hit record on the final shot of the braised pork, but here it is. It's very, very soft and smells delicious, so my bad, but here it is. I changed my mind on the carrots. I'm gonna cut them just a little bit because they're not gonna cook as long as I thought.
Like the magic of food to bring people together, to be creative, to be surprised and delighted by like new combinations of old ingredients. This is one of those recipes that's like, how did I live my whole life and not eat something like this? This is definitely the recipe that converted me to cabbage. So when I was a kid growing up in a Polish household, there was a lot of cabbage and I was not interested in any of it. For me, this was like the gateway recipe for cabbage because it does not really taste like cabbage because it's so light flavored, and the butter and the cream and just the way it's cooked with the pork. It's very simple seasonings because mostly the butter and the cream really shines. It melts in your mouth, but it's not mushy. It's just an amazing food experience.
The way this dish was sold to us, I have really high hopes, and it has smelled delicious, and a slow braised pork is always a good thing. Oh my God. The pork melts in your mouth. The butter with the heavy cream in this is a good cabbage dish. I want another piece of that pork. Come here, buddy. Get in there with the cabbage. That's delicious. The cabbage is not mushy. It still has a little bit of a bite to it, and that's because we steamed it more than we boiled it. The pork, slow cooked with the onions, has a bit of sweetness to it. Everything is just coming together so well. It is creamy and it's bitey and it's soft and crunchy. It has all of the textures and all of the flavors of everything that I love. If you are not a cabbage lover, I think this is a dish that could change your mind. Honestly, the cabbage flavor in this is so delicate. It just offers a lot of crunch and carries a lot of flavor. It's mouth-watering.
Hi Beryl, hi everyone, this is Mahsa. I'm originally from Iran, but I've been living in Canada for more than 2 years now. The dish that I want to talk about today is Polo Kalam, or cabbage rice, in which Polo means cooked rice and Kalam means cabbage. Cabbage rice is a dish that is made with rice and mixed with sauteed cabbage, caramelized onion.
I sliced this wrong. I got confused in the recipe. I have to do it again. It's not supposed to be grated like this. It needs to be a little bit bigger. Might be. Oops.
And it's always served with meatballs. Mixture of herbs including dill, chives, basil, and tarragon. The meatballs that are served with this dish are, however, smaller than the usual meatballs that we're used to. I find this recipe to be very flexible and forgiving, as you can always customize the amount of herbs that you use.
This cut glove, I don't know what you call it, this glove is one of the best things that has ever been sent to me. I use it all the time and I feel so much safer with it, especially when I'm grating things. This is a good tool.
There are different versions of cabbage rice in my country. I personally know 3 different versions of the dish.
My eyes, they're like really bothered now. The grating of the onion got me, not the slicing. Whew. Does anybody have a trick to not cry when you're cutting onions? I'm sure there's somebody out there with a good one. Send it to me.
The version that I'm talking about today is originally from the city of Shiraz in Iran. Shiraz is among the larger cities in my country and is known worldwide for its history, architecture, and wine.
I love dill. I love dill. Dilly dill. It's a big dill. One thing that I know about Iranian cuisine is that it uses a lot of herbs, and that is one thing that I totally love about it. I did an entire episode on herbs if you also are an herb person like me. Herb person. That sounds weird, but it's a thing.
But the food in this city is also very good and it never disappoints. And this recipe is of course one of them. Cabbage rice can be made with both white cabbage and German cabbage. When it's cooked down in this dish, the sweetness amplifies and the crispy texture of the cabbage softens to a softer, more like caramelized onion texture.
I just soaked this rice for an hour and now I'm gonna cook it and we're gonna do the cook and drain method. So there's gonna be extra water at the end of this cooking process, which some people don't like Uncle Roger.
I really enjoy eating this dish, and I have very fond memories of having this dish with my friends and family. I always made sure that I ordered this dish at least once when I visited the city. I think everyone should give this dish a shot because, as I mentioned, it's a very complete dish. It's aromatic and tasty. And if you are someone who loves eating rice, it's a great way to add some variety to your ordinary rice bowl.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Please don't be burned. Okay. She's crunchy on the bottom, but I think it's okay. Just need to check if the rice is cooked. Yes. Ooh, the herbs look nice. Okay, this looks beautiful.
I hope you enjoy making this, Beryl, and have a nice day. Thank you for letting me be a part of your show. Bye.
I'm not gonna lie, I was really anxious making this dish. Gah. Just trying to get through this. Yes, yes. Hallelujah. Iranian food is complicated. Because the last time I made an Iranian rice dish, I burnt the living daylights out of it. It's burnt. It's burnt real bad. This one, I did not. I think the key was cooking it really, really low. I used my tiniest burner possible. Let's dig in. Actually, I want a meatball on this. It is so herbaceous and delicious. That's one of my favorite things about Iranian food, how herbaceous everything is. The red cabbage is giving a little bit of sweetness because red cabbage has a sweeter flavor than white cabbage. It's one that I really like. I'm gonna have a meatball on its own now. I love how tiny they are. Rolling them was a little bit annoying because they're so small, but Leia helped me and it went a lot faster. When I started cooking this dish, I did the cabbage the wrong way. I put it on my grater. I hope that's the right way to do it. I don't know. Then I realized that I just needed to slice it really thin. I don't know why I thought the grater was the way to go. I just read the instructions a little bit wrong, I think. Cooking rice where you drain the water out of it is definitely a different method of cooking rice than I think a lot of people are used to, but we wanted the rice to be not fully cooked, and so it made sense that you did the draining method. That tastes al dente. This is obviously an amazing dish for a group because it makes so much, but I think that this will sit and the flavors will develop a lot more and it'll reheat really, really well. Caramelized onions and rice, it's a good thing. Stewed cabbage and rice, it's a very good thing. Herbs and rice, another good thing. And tiny meatballs with rice, a great thing.
Hi everyone, my name is Angela and I currently live in London, United Kingdom. However, I'm originally from South Korea. Today, I'd like to share with you a dish that's close to my heart, Baechujeon, or in English, Napa cabbage pancakes. Baechujeon is a wonderfully simple dish made from Napa cabbage leaves that are lightly battered and pan-fried. It's typically served with soy sauce for dipping, and I love how the natural sweetness from the cabbage blends perfectly with the crispy batter and savory soy sauce.
I've never pounded cabbage before. It's pretty satisfying. Just trying to flatten it. The stem at least.
As far as I know, Baechujeon is a regional dish from Gyeongsang Province and Gangwon Province in Korea. In Gangwon, known for its buckwheat produce, the batter is sometimes made with buckwheat flour instead of regular wheat flour. And my parents are from Gyeongsang Province, so I am more used to having it with just wheat flour, and of course, Baechujeon was a staple in our home. In Korea, we have a tradition called kimjang, where we dedicate an entire day to prepare a year worth of kimchi.
This is definitely a really thin batter. So if you're gonna try to make this at home, you're not going for pancake, you're going for very watery because it's gonna be really thin on the cabbage.
Baechujeon was often made from the leftover Napa cabbage after the kimjang, so it holds a special place in our family traditions as well.
I just feel like anytime you fry things, the first one is like a pancake, like it's never gonna be that good. My first one's a little bit wonky, but it's taking longer than I expected to brown. I kind of thought because it was just a leaf, it'd be really fast.
And one of my fondest memories of Baechujeon is when my mom would make it for me late at night during high school when I was busy studying for exams. And this dish always brought me a sense of comfort. Nowadays as well, it reminds me of home and time spent with my family when I'm just so far away from them. Napa cabbage, the star ingredient of Baechujeon, is not only widely available and affordable, but it's also packed with nutrition. Perhaps this is why cabbage is beloved and commonly used in so many dishes worldwide. Baechujeon in particular is a bit sweeter and softer compared to just raw cabbage by the cooking process. Overall, Baechujeon is a simple yet delicious dish that anyone can make at home. If you're looking to try something new, maybe you can try making them as well. I hope you enjoy Baechujeon.
For fried cabbage leaf, this was a little bit more time-consuming than expected. It took a little longer to get the right color on the leaf than I thought it would. That batter is so light and springy in your mouth, and the dipping sauce is very vinegary and has a little bit of spice to it. I like this. I also like that we got to use Napa cabbage because Napa cabbage has a really different flavor than some of the other cabbages that we used this week. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of the spinach episode where I made an Indian palak chaat where I took entire leaves and deep fried them. Those are also really good. I like that these were pan fried though. It made it a lot easier. The batter is just so light and nice. I also love cutting things with scissors. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's something that I learned from watching Korean cooking videos. Scissors are your friend, sometimes more than a knife is. Oh, but it didn't really cut this the whole way through. I'll just eat a really big bite, that's okay. Big bite. I hope you enjoyed this episode all about cabbage. Probably not the sexiest vegetable, but one that we all definitely love. Until next week, I'm leaving you with 2 episodes in our culinary universe: spinach, because I talked about it today, and breakfast all around the world, 27 dishes from 27 countries. I will see you in my next episode.